welcome to Breakfast with Max. Um, in the love and light of the One Creator. Very happy to have you here, and I will start again by saying that Breakfast with Max is the first meal in the morning, but also the first meal after awakening. Um, in yeah, as in you find yourself, your true self, which is sharing light. And with that light shared, you are just ready to blossom and to become yourself, the wonderful being you are. But, well, in order to arrive there, we have to share some truth. And these truths are not always easy to receive, to listen to, and to understand. Because we are really terrible when it comes to listen. We are really terrible to listen. That means that most time humans want to be listened to, but forget to listen. How many times I've seen that? All these people going out and shouting how mad they are. If they just had listened to others or to someone, they would probably have not gone out shouting, because they will have realized that it was worthless going out shouting like that. But anyway, welcome. And so I want to start with a new shout out to the wonderful Roxy. I've been watching more of her material online on YouTube on her channel, Odyssey of Ascension, and well, there is amazing material there that she has channeled through years with her channels, and I mean, she has Ocyphius and many others, Seth, Jane Roberts. Oh my goodness, so many people. Well, if you want something really that shows you the path to ascension, to awakening yourself, go and have a look at Roxanne's, because that's amazing. So, okay. I wanted to talk with you about you, the creator that doesn't know, yeah, that he's a creator, and that is waiting to remember itself. I have noticed through my path that, in fact, if I use my memory, but I'll come back to memory soon. If I use my memory and I look into my past, and I'm saying this on purpose, as Massimo, I have all along had moments of awakening, or I mean, what could be go in that direction, as realizing somehow the position of the Creator, of God, um, and in the way some decisions have been taken, or suggestions have been made. So realizing that in fact the Creator, God, has never been far away. And still I'm on purpose speaking this way. Which is funny, but it's so disconnected. But I'm trying to talk to you in a way that you can understand. Because we have this feeling that we are alone, that no one is paying attention to our pain, that oh, no one cares. I could drop dead in the middle of the center of the village, of the town, and people will pass by and no one will notice. Well, if that's your reality, why not? It can happen. It can happen that way. Why not? If you make it your reality, of course. But anyway, that's what we feel. Sorry, that it's I laugh at that because it's so ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, we feel. And oh, what a victim we make. Um, yeah. Anyway, that's what we feel. And then I realized that that's bullshit. Never been alone, ever, ever, ever. All along, all the steps, all the way, every step. My higher self, my guides, my guardian angels, everyone have been there guiding me, preparing me. And this awakening was prepared through all those things that has happened, and always at the right moment. Something have been introduced here in a certain moment, and something else has been introduced in another moment, and then another moment, and another moment, and always bringing the consciousness little by little, but with the idea of preparing awakening and awakening at the right moment. And so when I decided some years ago in 2010, I was working in a place and I had a couple of colleagues that were working with a shaman, and I went to see this shaman a couple of times in Ibiza, then um, and then I started to work with one of my um, ex-colleague at that point, so to see how we could manage some healing processes with using runes. From there, I moved into creation, wanted to explore that aspect, and creating filming documentaries. And but that didn't work out at that moment really correctly, because I started with the idea I can do it. And that was the right position. I can do it. Whatever it is, I will do it. But then I shifted from there into I have to find someone that can do it for me or can help me to do it. which obviously didn't work because it was not their job to do it, it was my job. But I shifted, and obviously the project didn't land it well. And so I came back and I kept working with my friend and realized that she was not offering a good side and losing herself. You know, when you have a guide to someone, um, and that said also for wanderers, a wanderer comes here in the idea of sharing their light and help humanity to go their path. Um, but the wanderer comes to life in this reality with no idea of being a wanderer. So they have to realize it and find it themselves or not. It's a choice. So um, they can lose their way. And so anyone can lose their way. So I found myself with someone that was not fulfilling and losing themselves with the wrong people. So I left. And then for a while I was there thinking, oh, what I'm going to do. I need someone that shows me the way or help me realizing, or, you know, yeah, I need a guide. Do I need a guide? I don't need a guide. I was having all these ideas coming to me and realizations and and feeling in the energies and I realized that I was able to do things as going in healing and this kind of thing, coming from uh, with, inside of myself. I didn't need to learn it. I can do it, and it's working. But somehow I was saying to myself, "Oh, I still need to read books or to to find someone that can tell me what I'm doing." Completely wrong idea. Always, you know, measuring um, my goals or my realizations based on other people or what other were doing, and saying, always saying, oh, that person is doing that, I should be able to do that, but I don't know how they do that. Should I ask? But anyway, I've never really moved in that direction. And then I had slowly, you know, realization all the way long, and then came the biggest blow, at the moment at least, which was a realization of how my father, I said, my father, my stepmother, they never loved me. Um, in you know, in a way, it was a blow because uh, I will. That's my memory. I say this here. You know, I want to say this because I think it's really important to say this. That's what I remember. That's a memory. I will come back later to explain what a memory is. So that's how I remember it happening. Did it happen? Didn't happen? Who cares? So I give you the memory, and that is I was a uh, abused child. My mother abused me and my sisters. The only thing that it was not sexual, but every other abuse, possible abuse, we experienced it, especially physical and psychological. So that um, I had in my imagination this idea that, oh, at least my father. And then I had the realization, yes, but my father knew what was going on with my mother, but my father never did anything about that. So and so that was a big blow for me because you have to certainly you are certain of something and then you realize, oh no, that's not certain. But was it like that? What is the fifth law? Change is the only constant in the universe except for the first four laws. So that as I say, it can shift without you realizing that everything changes. You have a reality, and then that reality changes because you change vibration, so you change memories, but you have no recollection of that change because you're not the same. So I give you the memory as I have it. So I spent some time really have and I had to work on that and I realized that the more I was trying to figure out what was going on with that, the less I could really get, and I was angry, and really becoming angrier nearly by the hour. I stayed 2 or 3 years without going to see my father. Because I needed the distance and and I thought I have to work this out alone. It's my reality, it's my pain. I have to work it out. And in my pain or in my anger, I realized that the goal was forgiving, and that only in forgiveness I will have I will achieve the fact of putting it behind me and finally being because I had already done it with my mother. It was easy because I had this distance and I had just come to realization. Whereas I have to forgive and then put it behind. It's fine. There is nothing that I can change about it. So I don't care. So from that I don't care come forgiveness because it was okay. Um, Nothing of that was important. But once I had done that job with the side of my mother, I didn't expect to do that, to have to do that with the idea of my father. So then at some point I decided, okay, it's time to let it go. It's fine. We put it together behind behind us, and it's okay. And that moment, that was when it shifted, and from there I was able to, um, you know, that's when um, I was able really to uh, then take the step that had to come after. Because I think that was really the biggest issue that I had left, the biggest. Not that I don't have other issues, but that was the biggest. And in fact, in that, we create our reality. So my relationship with my father, it was only the reflection of myself. It was not him. And he did nothing to me because we are what co-creators. So and my mother the same, she was my co-creator, so she didn't do anything to me that she wasn't allowed to do. So and I think I already spoke about this before. It's that in the end of the day we are co-creator, and then in every moment you have, you and that you spend with someone else, you are co-creating, good or bad. And what happens in that moment, it's allowed to happen. So you are co-creators. There are no perpetrators and no victims. But obviously, this is something that I'm able to say today with really the honesty of someone that has gone through all the stages from I'm a victim, I'm not a victim, but how did it happen? And then shifting it, slowly or sometimes slowly, sometimes faster into this. We are co-creators. So, and then um, from that moment where I decided to forgive, but now I'm saying, what is there to forgive? But you come from there, and before you realize that there is nothing nothing, that yeah, there is nothing to forgive, but everything to accept. To accept what? Not what happened, what was done, but the fact that you are co-creators. When you realize that you are co-creators, you understand, okay, so then that was allowed to happen because we were our co-creators. And so from that moment, the path was prepared to arrive to this moment where the understanding is there, and the accepting, forgiving, and then that aspect of forgiving becomes acceptance in the work of the co-creators. And from that moment, actually, you really realize, okay, that was my path. But still, there's more, because there is always more. But then, okay, I was saying that realization came, so the path for the next step was prepared, was open. I had, the road was at that moment free for me to move on. And um and then I started, I found a new job finally, after 1 year of looking for one. But you see, that's the thing, is that you have to prepare yourself. And I needed some time off to work on those things. And even though I needed to have a job, in the same time I needed to have my time off in order to work on those things, because you have to have that time where you are allowed to work through things. We are taught that, oh, you have to perform, so you don't have to waste your time. I didn't waste my time. I had the best time working through working through things, which is what we are supposed to do, folks. Going to having a job, by going a 40, 50 hours a week job, it's not what you're supposed to do. That's your ego, that's your creation, that's whatever. You're not through that, you are going nowhere in your ascension. It's a creation in a illusion. But that's fine. That's what we need to create. It's fine. But we need this moment where we are allowed to work on ourselves in issues that we have. Because in the end of the day, those issues are not just, oh, I have an issue with my father. No, I don't have an issue with my father. There is no, he is just a co-creator that takes on himself to be the one that enables me to work on my issues, and my issues, the reality, are with myself. Hello, there is no one else. It's always an issue with yourself. Always. There is no one else. In your reality, there is only you. And everything that you experience is an issue with yourself. Allow you to admit this truth with yourself. Because when you understand this, you will be really much more there with you and ready to go inside of yourself and find the real things that are bothering you and embrace it. Embrace yourself. So, new job, and with the new job thing, and when I found this new job, I started to have when I was going online on Facebook, YouTube, and more and more and more guy and TV publicity coming to me, and I was saying, "Oh, well, that's something." And I was there saying, "Oh, that's interesting. I will. Why not? Subscription. You have to pay for it, yeah." But and I said, "Oh well, okay." It's really insisting, and I felt the the need to subscribe. And so I said, well, that's okay, let's do it. And so I did that, and subsequently I started with this show with the first thing that I had was the pyramids, and how pyramids are much older than what the mainstream medias and science and Egyptology says. Um, and then I found this show with David Wilcox and about disclosure, and I watched it all. A lot of conspiracy theories. What the mainstream say are conspiracy theories, but in the end of the day, I had this thought. I said to myself, yes, outrageous what they say, but listen to them and what they say on these shows about. I'm not speaking about what is the part that is the hidden history of humanity and the relationship with um, extraterrestrials and these kind of things. No, I'm speaking about what is spirituality, and what is the relationship that we have, the truth about life and this kind of thing. And at that point, I had already read Seth, the Seth material, which had already opened my eyes on many things, because Seth material as a channeled book, it's a must read. I mean, if you want life as it is and what happens at the various stages, and your self growth, read that book. It's your book, because it's absolutely fantastic. And you may not understand everything as you read it, but it certainly will prepare you to understand it at the right moment, because what you will read in the Seth material at some point will come back to you, and you will say, now I understand what Seth was talking about. So I was ready. I was able, through that knowledge that I've acquired reading the Seth material, and also through my personal knowledge. And what is interesting with this stuff on Game TV, especially David Wilcox and these people that are around there, is that everything they talk about, they always say, we have proof. We can prove this. We have you know, proof, 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 proof. I don't have proof, but I have myself, and I went inside of myself to understand things. And so I didn't go check bullshit through the proofs anywhere, but I checked what they were saying with what I knew, and was what they were saying from the point of view of spirituality was correct from the point of view of what I knew, and I knew it as certain. And I already, and I, for instance, I had already understand by myself that time doesn't exist, and that as time doesn't exist, and this was my realization, everything happens at the same time all over the universe. So when you have people that talk about this, even if they don't really understand the meaning of that at its extent, well, then you can start to say, well, they are not bullshitting. They 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 are taking all this other stuff that they say from the point of view of things that I know are true. So if they are able to put everything they say that is outrageous from a point of view of mainstream, and that they can place it from the point of view of what I know is true, so I have to pay attention because they must be saying things that are true. Makes sense? So I kept watching that, and then I watched other shows, also about talking about um, the, the secret space program, and the 20 and back and these kind of things, and I had quite some interesting experiences there. And so I was progressing um, in my on my path, and then what was 5 6 weeks ago, no, a little bit before, I've after I had seen all these shows, suddenly have this new show that was there about channeling, and so I started watching it, and it had a 20 episode at that point. And now, well, they have a new episode that have been released since. Um, and at first, I had this. The first episodes were about with Pleiadians, channels of Pleiadians, and I is instantly clicked with that. Um, well, and that's not a surprise that I didn't know at the time, but it's not a surprise that when Pleiadians showed up, it instantly was a hit for me. And after that, um, I remember the first episodes, and then there is this guy, or it was a woman, I don't remember, and then there is someone else was thinking, why don't they explore a bit more with 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 this channel, and I understood that that was the plan all along, and it was mind blowing each episode, discovering this these beings being channeled, and what they were saying, and the amazing thing is that if you watch all of that, you realize that in fact they are all saying um, a variation of the same thing. The message is always the same. It's a message of love, and offering an understanding of ourselves from the point of view of the creator. And they say, you are a creator, you are creators, you create your reality. check into it, because you are that and nothing else. And so from there, I watched all that there was to be seen, and and at some point there was the episode with Roxanne, and it's funny how things go, because as I was, I was at work, and I have my phone there, and uh, I watched them, and I see Roxanne, and I see a woman, and then I heard this woman channeling what is supposed to be a male entity. Obviously, you know, when we say channeling a male entity, obviously, if you understand something about other dimension, when we go in we progress in dimension, it's not a question of male female, it becomes a collective. So they present themselves with a name, but it's a name that they give to themselves in order for us to understand them. They don't need names. They may, I don't know them, they may have names, yes, but it it's not necessarily the names they give to us, because they have to give three-dimensional name in order for us to understand them. And also, they have to present themselves in a certain way, because we have no understanding of those dimensions. We figure them to be something, but it's completely others, something else. So we are just lacking the understanding. uh, very putting this simply, it's like we imagine God to be something, and it's nothing of whatever we have ever thought about a God. Completely no, forget it. It's God has nothing to do with what we have ever thought, in any religion, in any science, in any bullshit. Nothing to do. So we don't have that ability, because it's completely, we are in a we have the illusion to be in a physical three-dimensional um, reality, and so it's for us impossible to realize. And we have this impression of individuality, which is not what they have, because they are more, they are in a collective, and they may be they may have a collective individual, there may be an individuality in a collective, but which means that they have the idea of the being they are, but they are linked to the collective, they are part of the collective, so they see themselves as the collective and not just as one. It's more in the idea the one is uh the, the one is all. That's really the next step. Our next step is to become the all, to have the understanding of the all, to become the all, which we are separating, which we have the illusion of separation now, because that's a necessity of third dimension. But we are moving to fifth dimension, so we are already, from some of us, we are already able to go to fifth dimension, but we are still in three-dimensional space. So and we have no conscious of that, because we are not yet able to figure it out. So all this to say, I'm mad. I had this image going through this, and then I see Roxanne, and I instantly loved her, instantly. And when and the same day, I saw her episode on Gaim TV. I came home and I said, "Well, I have to contact her. I have to see her or on the internet, and then decide what to do. And I decided to book a session with her, and then the session became a class for 4 classes, and then now there are new 4 classes, and that's where I say all my journey, and then I of preparation, and then I come there and I see Roxanne, and I say, well, that's where I have to go. I And as we put it now, is light attracting light. I was attracted from by her light and the light of her channels, and we come together. All of us came together to create the moment, our moment, and our reality. And from there, because if you listen to my first um, session and then first lessons, you really see how I was far away from the really understanding, the understanding of the creators. And so, and as I put it, you have the choice. They tell you, the channel tells you, it's like this. Now, I tell you the thing. You take it or you leave it. It's your choice. You have the choice. It's not my choice, it's your choice. I tell you, you take it or you leave it. And from that moment, whichever decision you take, it becomes your reality. And then obviously you have your reaction, the reaction of the ego, because that's the main thing, is that you are put in, confronted with your ego. And I have decided early on to be honest with myself, and being honest with myself, it's not always easy, but I think it's the best point of so that you are just, I'm always trying to call myself to my bullshit, um, and so when I'm confronted with channel that says you are the creator, are you? Do you choose this reality or you live it? So I was able to say I take it, and um, yeah, and I think that was. Uh, an amazing journey, but a journey from where I emerged with the ability to understand that I'm the creator, that we are all creators, and that we create from our point of view all that is our reality, and that all that is around us is our creation and nothing else. So nothing is real, nothing. Nothing, even not your feelings, even not your reflection in the mirror or whatever. It's a creation, it's your creation, and that's always done from your point of view. And people that are around you are your co creator. You co create the moment. And so, coming back to all that I have said, that put you, if you are ready to go through it and to understand what you are saying, what you are, the meaning of what you have been taught, because in the end of the day, that's the point, is that they teach you, but the lesson is assimilating only in a moment when you understand it by yourself. The understanding is here. They tell you, but then it has to go inside here. So you have to have it here. And, it's not a mm, mm, how can I say it? we are multidimensional beings that have mm, millions of versions of ourselves, and many lives, that and has everything is happening at the same time, means that every one of your incarnation is happening now. Your life is happening now. So, and as there is no separation, you have access to all of that, because the separation that you are experiencing is not separation, it's an illusion, it's not real. So you are inside of your true self, your higher self, always have been. You can go make travel around the world billions of times. It's an illusion. You never move. You are all the time still inside of your creator, of the creator, of your true self, of you. Yeah, funny, isn't it? So many things, so many information. So, but yeah, but that's how it is. And if you pay attention, you can feel that even when you are speeding on a high street, or maybe, but do it when you are on a train, because at least you're not driving. But if you, or you're walking on the street, if you pay attention, you can realize that your consciousness, what is your consciousness, is not moving. Your body is moving in a third dimensional physical world, but you're not moving. You're not. And you have never moved. Your true self, your higher self, has never moved. No true self of all the billions of beings that are all through the universe have ever moved. They are there. They are there in the moment. But there is no movement. Anyway, funny. Um, it was, and my this journey is not ended. It's still becoming, and there is still a lot to do. But all this to say that I've been guided. I've guided myself, obviously, but and there are older guides that, and the goal, and what my higher self has put as, let's say, goals, um, things to do in my life. And then, obviously, it's always the fact that you have to realize and to understand that each moment you exist in the moment. There is no past, there is no future, there is only the moment. So from from that moment, everything that you remember, everything that you think that will happen, it's only the projection of what? The projection of all the possibilities that are out there, because you are what? You are a possibility that materializes through what? Through the moment, because you have only that. And all the memories that you have in that moment are only what? A vibrational sign, or vibration that resonate with you in that moment. So in that moment, those vibration becomes your reality of memory. But then that is out of millions of possibilities that could be your past or future or whatever, because every moment has an infinite possibility of next moment. And out of those infinite possibilities, you choose which one becomes your next moment. It's not, and because we have the impression of 8 timelines, it becomes here and goes there. You were born there and you die there, and that's what. But no, it's not how it works, and there is no linearity. Go read Seth. Seth says you are vibration. So you appear, disappear, appear, disappear, all, and that's your vibration all along. So you are here, you are not here, you are here, you're not here. And that's so fast that you have no idea of that, but it happens. Yeah, I know. They're gonna. Boo! Oh, sorry. That's funny. Yeah, well, we understand it. Anyway, yeah, I know. Yeah. Sorry, but uh, gosh. So, in and therefore, with all of that, is that you don't go. You are, you appear from one moment to the other moment. You're not going in a linear existence, and each moment relates to the moment before through your ego, through your ego. Why? Because your memory is what? It's your ego. Who needs memory? Your ego. Because your ego needs to remember that it exists. It defines itself through his existence. And your ego is the one that needs the timeline. Because without timeline, the ego loses losing food. It's, and it couldn't really find itself, so it will panic. It couldn't exist without these kind of things. Because the ego sees itself as a existing being by itself in a real world that is physical and that it proved by itself and that is infinite because everything exists outside. That's the ego. But I told you, in order to find yourself, you have to go inside of yourself, especially in your heart chakra, because that's where you have access to yourself, and that yourself is a bigger self than your body, and it's not in your body, but it's all around you, and it's more than around you, but that the ego cannot accept because the ego fears that, because the ego sees itself as the real thing, and the ego can't bear disappearing, and the finding out of your true self, of you as a creator, comes with the disappearance, the death, the diminishing of the ego that is exposed, and with the exposure has its action limited and diminished and slowly fading away. Not for all. Because there are a lot of people that say, I have done a huge work on my ego, I don't have ego, and then they are just there in ego and they talk and you see that's your ego. But well, I will not. I will not say whom I'm talking about. There are so many, and but nevertheless, um, obviously, our existence, it's not the fact of killing the ego, it's the fact of embracing the ego and embracing everything, every aspect. Because in the end of the day, good or bad, whatever happened in your life, in order to go through it and to be able to go to the next step, is that you have to embrace everything, and not just in your life, in all of your lives, because you have not been an angel all the time. You have done things in your other lives that are awful. Can you accept that? Can you embrace that? Can you admit that you were not a perpetrator, but you were a co-creator, co-creator that has done things that are difficult, horrible, but it's a co-creation. That's what we need. All those people that come to us and that do things to us that are not great, they are not perpetrated, they are co-creator. We need them to co-create with us in order to have those experiences. But if we don't have someone that takes upon themselves to do some actions that are not good or positive or whatever, how can we have the experience? We can't. So we need those people that takes upon themselves to do bad things, or we cannot create. So that's the creation, that's what we need, and that's what happens. And then from there, you have co-creators that create the moment. And once the moment is created, the lesson is given, is assimilated, and you move on to the next moment. And if you understand that that is a co-creation, from the moment you understand that, you accept the co-creation as part of your co-creation of your creation. You create your reality, so you create everything that happens to you, good and bad. And that, my friend, it's what you are. Embrace it, because it's amazing, it's great, it's fantastic, it's absolutely, absolutely amazing. You can only have truth. But then again, it's your choice, and that's your truth. You will anyway create a truth, which way you decide to go, and that's fine. This is also important to understand. And we always have to be positive about these kind of things, because you know um, we are creators. And from that, you can go through life with no fear. You are the creator. You create your reality, your everything. And when you understand that, well, can you trust yourself? Of course you can. If you realize you are the creator, you are the creator, so you create your reality. So you are the one in charge. Have fun. And if you have fears, if you oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Of course, thank you, I was forgetting that. I was saying you are working through um, your issues in this life, but also in all of your other lives. So it's important to understand that embracing every aspect of yourself, it's really important in order to work through that. And once you are embracing all of that, good and bad, you as a light being and you as a shadow being, doesn't matter. You have to embrace all of that in the name of the creator, in the light of the creator, because in the end of the day, that's all there is, light, your light. And you're amazing. So accept to be amazing. Stop being bullshitting around about yourself. You're amazing. And that's the end of it. And you are love. And you are loved. And in unconditional love. The love of the universe, because that's what created us, love. It's it's the real energy, the energy that created us. So what the fuck do you think that there is bad things? Doesn't exist. Everything is love. Everything is love. And with this, I leave you with a message of love and light. So I hope that you forgive me for going now. It's 1 hour, 7 minutes. Oh well, time doesn't exist. Have fun. Okay. Love you in the light and love, in the love and light of the one creator. See you soon.